Good morning everyone, Thyworm here. I'm gonna make one last video before the League start, and that is about the Atlas starter trees. I've made 3 trees, all towards the 100 point mark, give or take. So I think it's very achievable in SSF. And I just wanted to go through these, so I'll put these also in the description of the video. That should make it easy. Tree 1 would be my starter tree. I would probably play this all the way to 100 points. And then at 50 points you unlock the second tree, which I probably don't take just yet. I will leave it empty until I again reach roughly 100 points. Then I have the tree 2, and then the tree 3 will also be there at 100 points. So I think it will all make sense in a second. So this is the first tree, and I will go over the nodes that I picked, and I will also explain why. Just as before, I will still be taking these 4 betrayal nodes. Overall, I feel that, first of all, I want to try out the new betrayal mechanic. I think that could be very interesting. But also, betrayal items early League in Solo Self-Hound can be incredibly powerful. You can get a bunch of chaos resistance, you can get basically free charges if you're killing stuff. There are so many good modifiers on these field modifiers that, yeah, I think it's definitely worth your first 4 points. Then I'm pathing up. I'm taking these strongbox nodes a bit later down the line. I'm pathing up, and then I will go through all of the Kirak missions, get this Kirak missions, because I want as soon as possible the chance to get Kirak missions, because this helps you just a lot with your Atlas progression. And then I will be taking these map nodes here, because you want more maps to drop. And then I will be making my way up here, take 1 more cluster of map nodes and go to the shrines. And then from here I have a bunch of shrines. Then I take these shrines as well, because shrines are just really a lot of player power. I think especially in SSF shrines are going to be pretty good, but that for me would be the baseline. So the betrayal, the shrines, the Kirak missions, a bunch of map nodes, and then another cluster of shrines. I would probably after this go for either Abyss or Strongboxes. Let's assume you do Strongboxes. You will take this cluster over here, and you will take this cluster over here, and now all of your Strongboxes that you find in your map are rare and corrupted, which is pretty good. And then you really have a choice if you want to go for quantity and rarity here in the middle, or if you want to go for Abyss. I'm taking Abyss because I'm playing my own SRS Guardian, right? I made a guide about this yesterday. And I will be needing Abyss because I need the ghastly eye jewels. Hence I'm taking Abyss. You don't have to do this, but Abyss I think is pretty good early League start again. It's got additional experience here with these nodes. You can lead down to Abyssal Depths and get a bunch of these, I think, very cool uniques. I path over here because this just increases the chance of Abyss quite a bit. And then while I'm out here, I'm also taking a few more map nodes. And then the final part of this tree will be the Eater of Worlds. That being said, that's of course your own choice, right? But for me, it just synergizes pretty well with everything else that I'm trying to do. Plus, I can also then get these gems, which will at times give me corrupted 5 or 6 modifier Abyss jewels. And if you get a 6 modifier Ghastly Eye Jewel, that can actually be very, very powerful for a minion build. So yeah, I like to gamble a little bit with these things. I think also this is just a very fun mechanic. And that's the first tree. I think your sort of wiggle room in here, things that you don't have to do, is potentially the item quantity and rarity. You can save up a lot of points and take another League mechanic if you so please. You can also skip the Abyss if you want to. And rather than pathing to the right side of the tree, you could also path to the left side of the tree if you would rather do the Searing Exarch instead. That is entirely up to you. I would say all the other stuff I would consider mandatory pretty much for SSF. The shrines are just so good, and the strongboxes are also so valuable. You get even 6 links out of these things. So yeah, I would definitely always take those first. Then the second tree. You unlock the second tree at 50 points, but I will say that I will not be putting any points in the second tree before, you know, I roughly reach this stage. You can see it's 101 points. Then we go to the second tree, and you can see I am focusing a little bit on the left side of the tree, but for a bit of variety. The basics are again for now the same, because I will expect, I am still looking for Kirac missions, I still want shrines, I still want extra maps to drop. I'm taking this item quantity wheel, but then there are some changes. Because for my second tree, I'll be focusing on ritual. I think ritual, again, for my build is very important because I need specters, but also ritual in SSF I think is just a great mechanic. You get so many different things from ritual that you can actually use, whether it is essences or oils or, well, these specters, offerings of the goddess for your final lab, that drops in there as well. All sorts of currency, a good number of uniques and the field items. Like, you can find almost anything in ritual that otherwise you would have to spec into a different atlas tree. So I am a big fan of ritual, and then, you know, hence I've taken pretty much all of the ritual nodes, as you will be able to tell. As I'm gonna path over here, because this adds just so much more chance for ritual, right? It adds 60% chance this wheel, which is pretty insane. If you're here anyway, you might as well take these Kirac missions. These comprehensive scouting reports, there is a decent chance that you get like super rare, unique maps that you have to complete for your atlas completion, such as the Coward's Trail or the Putrid Cloister. You got a very decent chance to get them from these comprehensive scouting reports. So I think these are worth taking if you're in this area. For the same reason, I'm in this area, so I'm taking again some more atlas nodes. Now that I am doing ritual, I can also start doing a little bit of the Searing Exarch, because you're here anyway. Yeah, these nodes, they're all very ritual related. I think they make a lot of sense. Extra rerolls, so you increase your chances to get good rewards. The reduced reroll costs. This is optional, clearly, but I very much like it. It states favors at rituals in your maps randomly cost between 90% less and 80% more. That is a net win, but more than this just allows you to get like certain items super cheap, and other items will be overpriced, but that is fine because you're typically not looking for something super specific. You are just looking for these rewards in general because they're so good in solo self-found. At least that's why I am running this. So this node for me makes a lot of sense, because then if I get a super cheap essence, I'll just take it because you can always use essences, right? Or a super cheap oil, I'll just take it because why not? Or super cheap currency. And then if something is very expensive and I need it, yeah, then that's a bit of a shame. But for the most part, I think this has only upsides. Here you have a node that grants unique monsters more tribute. That's just not bad. You take all of these, including these little nodes, because that is increased pack size, which is great. And then here you have, very important, I think, your maps with ritual altars always have 4 ritual altars. If you have only 3, that's kind of a waste. So yeah, you'll have to path over here. Another thing that you do not see me do in either this tree or this tree is take a whole bunch of explicit map modifiers, because this really increases the difficulty of your maps. And I think in SSF, at your sort of League start scenario, you don't want to start juicing your maps unless you got like a completely broken build. And because I'm playing my own build, which is definitely not completely broken, but I do hope very solid, I'm not gonna invest in a whole bunch of map modifiers. I will really only be doing this once I start making a juicer atlas tree, and that is none of these 3 trees are juicer trees. That is just not the scenario we're in. We're at a League Star scenario. Hence, I'm very sort of cautious by taking all this map modifier effect, because this can really screw you over. So yeah, be a little bit mindful of that as well if you're creating your own trees. But I think that concludes the second tree. Again, you have wiggle room here, right? If you don't want to run ritual for whatever reason, yeah, then go, I don't know, you pick all the delirium nodes, or pick the blight nodes if you're more interested in that. But yeah, this is what I personally prefer. And I will be then also swapping around a little bit between these trees. Sometimes I will be feeling a bit more like doing Abyss and the Eater of Worlds, and other times I will be doing a little bit more of the Searing Exarch and Ritual. And that's then how it will go. I think that's completely fine. And then there is one final tree. This is also a tree you absolutely do need on a League start scenario, although it is definitely also the third tree that you will take. this is a tree that will have you rush Maven and rush map bosses. So this is the sort of new variation on the map boss rushing tree. I have posted a tree like this before. I think this is a very standard tree, but I will walk you through it. So rather than pathing through the middle, which you can still do if you want to, but I will be pathing, taking some Nico nodes. And the reason for that is that you will also take Packed with Energy, and Packed with Energy gives you increased resistances, movement speed and damage. And this is just a great buff whenever this spawns. And I think you have about, what will it be, 48? Yeah, 48% chance to spawn Nico. So half of the time you are getting these sulfite veins. And then when you do, you get a bunch of buffs. And they last, I think, a minute. So it's pretty good, right? Like, this is definitely going to help you out when you're reaching the boss. Again, because we're in the neighborhood, we're just taking these map nodes. I really think this is just a best practice at this point. Altars, of course, or shrines, I should say. Scarabs, because I think we're really not speccing into any League mechanic. The point of this tree is that you make it to the map boss kind of as soon as possible. And then kill the map boss. Have Maven witnesses, hopefully drop some awakened gems and complete a bunch of bonuses, right? That is what you're here to do. So this is a tree that doesn't really focus on any other League mechanic, because that kind of defeats the purpose. Yeah, you shouldn't use this tree for a bunch of League mechanics. You should use this tree to get as soon as possible to the boss and kill it. That is the whole plan. Again, because you're completing so many maps, we still have Kirak. I mean, Kirak is great, and we still have maps. We have the item. We should probably take the rarity, come to think of it, but yeah, you don't have to. But you could also sacrifice some scarabs if you want, and then get the item quantity and rarity over here. It's a little bit up to you, I think. More shrines over here, more shrines over here, and then we are taking all of the boss nodes. So here you have additional chance for synthesis maps to drop, because this is what you need for a Maven invitation. Here you have additional chance for Elder as Shaper. You need this for your Voidstone. Here you have an additional chance for Conqueror maps. You also need that, I think, for a favored map. You do need the Conquerors themselves for an invitation, right? So this is also good for, again, some additional bonuses for this actual tree. More Scarabs, because you want the less common ones, and you also want them to drop from the map boss, because you're killing so many, so this is a decent node. And then the reason why you're taking this tree in the first place, it is destructive play. It reads, the Maven casts up the stakes, summoning 1 to 3 additional Atlas bosses when witnessing map bosses. The number of additional bosses summoned is higher if there are fewer monsters remaining in the map. So the idea is to kill most of the map, then go to the boss. Maven will be there. You will fight not one boss, but you will fight 4 bosses. And all of those 4 bosses have these nodes enabled. All of these different nodes apply to every single map boss out there. And if you summon 4 instead of 1, that is clearly a good strategy. This is a very common tree as well, but I wanted to include it because this is the tree that will get you your Maven invitations, and also your Voidstones, because this is the best way to farm the Shaper Guardians, the Elder Guardians, and then the Shaper and the Elder themselves, and then Uber Elder, because that is what you need to do for your 3rd Voidstone. And whereas Maven will give you your 4th Voidstone, and then you have everything complete. But to speed up that process, you absolutely should take a tree like this. And I suggest, of course, this tree, because it has no focus on other League mechanics. It purely focuses on killing the map bosses. And I think that is the most efficient way of doing this. And that's it, the 3 starter trees. I hope they are useful to you. Of course, you can make your own variations to these things. But if you would follow these to the letter, I think you're going to be completely fine. And then later on, you can do some experimentation yourself. Alright everyone, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Hope you have a great League start. Thanks for watching. Love you all. See you soon. Bye bye.